Marcus Hale walked into the small restaurant like a man carrying the whole world on his shoulders. People knew his face, one of the richest men in the city, but today there was no pride in his walk. His jaw was tight. His eyes were tired. And his hands were gently holding the wheelchair of his 12-year-old son, Aiden. Aiden's body was weak, his movements slow, his head slightly tilted. Marcus tried everything: doctors, therapies, machines, private specialists, but nothing worked. Every failure added a new crack inside his heart. Today was the worst. The top therapy center had told him again, "Your son will not improve. Accept it." Those words kept echoing in his ears. So Marcus came here only because he needed silence. And maybe a moment to breathe. But the restaurant wasn't silent. Soft jazz flowed through the speakers. Warm yellow lights glowed. And inside this calm, a young waitress moved smoothly from table to table. Her name tag said Tiana. She was black, beautiful, with warm brown eyes that looked like they carried stories of their own. She didn't walk, she glided, like someone who understood rhythm better than the world understood her. Marcus sat tiredly, pushing Aiden's chair close to the table. He didn't expect anyone to look twice at them, but Tiana did. She knelt beside Aiden, speaking in a gentle voice. "Hey, sweetheart, you like music?" Aiden blinked. A small, shy sound left his throat. Marcus stiffened. People usually avoided talking to Aiden. They didn't know how. They were scared of saying the wrong thing. But Tiana wasn't scared. Marcus cleared his throat. He can't really respond. Tiana simply smiled. "That's okay. Everyone moves in their own way." Then something unbelievable happened. The jazz shifted to a soft dance rhythm. Tiana stood up, stepped back, and extended her hand toward Aiden, not toward Marcus, but toward Aiden. "Wanna try a step with me?" she whispered. Marcus froze. People never touched his son without permission. And Aiden had never stood in a place like this without a therapist, rails, or machines. This was wrong. Too risky. "Please don't," Marcus started. But Aiden lifted his shaking hand and placed it in hers. The entire restaurant went silent. Tiana held Aiden's weight like she had been doing it her whole life. She guided his hand, then gently lifted him from the wheelchair. Aiden's legs trembled violently. Marcus's heart almost tore out of his chest. "No, he'll fall," Marcus said sharply. Tiana didn't even look at him. "Let him try. Just one step, one step." Aiden looked at the floor like it was a mountain. His knees wobbled. Sweat formed on his forehead. Marcus felt helpless, angry, afraid, everything at once. And then, Aiden moved his foot forward. A tiny step, so small, it wouldn't matter to anyone else. But Marcus saw something impossible. Aiden was following the music. People around gasped softly. Tiana kept guiding him, slow and gentle, like she understood the exact rhythm his body needed. Aiden took another step. Then another. For the first time in years, he wasn't just surviving. He was trying. Marcus felt his breath shake. He couldn't understand this. Aiden never responded to doctors, trainers, expensive therapists. Yet this waitress made him move. Who was she? Aiden looked up at Tiana and smiled like a spark of life had finally returned. Marcus's voice cracked. What did you just do?" Tiana turned to him slowly, her eyes calm but deep. "I didn't do anything," she said softly. "Your son already had this inside him." But then she added, with a small mysterious smile, "You just never let him dance." Marcus felt his chest tighten, because her words were not just truth. They were a challenge. And for the first time in a very long time, he was scared of the answer. Marcus Hale couldn't stop replaying the moment in his mind. Aiden standing, trembling, yet taking steps with a rhythm that felt almost magical. He didn't understand how a waitress could do in 1 minute what world-class therapists failed to do in 10 years. When they returned to their table, Aiden was still breathing fast. But there was a glow on his face Marcus hadn't seen in years. A glow that terrified him, because hope was dangerous. Marcus sat down slowly, His voice came out rough. How? Did you do that? Tiana wiped sweat gently from Aiden's forehead, treating him like he was a normal child, not someone made of delicate glass. Children don't move because someone tells them, she said softly. They move when someone believes they can. Marcus swallowed. Belief doesn't fix broken muscles. Tiana met his eyes without fear. No. But belief wakes up what's sleeping. Nobody talked to Marcus like that. Not employees. Not therapists. Not doctors. People always stepped around him carefully, except her. Tiana stood up and motioned for Aiden to breathe slowly, placing his hand on his chest as she counted a beat. Aiden followed surprisingly well. Marcus watched, confused but mesmerized. She moved like a teacher, like someone who had done this 1,000 times, and lost something important along the way. Where did you learn this? Marcus asked. A shadow crossed her face. I used to work at a community center, she said quietly. Dance therapy. Kids with different conditions. They taught me more than I ever taught them. Used to? Marcus asked. She looked away. Life happened. Something about her tone made Marcus feel there was a wound under her words. Something deep, something she didn't want to open. Aiden reached for her hand again, and she smiled instantly, the darkness disappearing. You're sweet, aren't you? She whispered to him. You want another step? Aiden nodded an actual nod. Marcus blinked. His son barely responded to anything, but for her? He reacted. Wait, Marcus said quickly. He just stood for the first time in weeks. He needs rest. Tiana shook her head lightly. His body needs rhythm more than rest. Rhythm heals. Rhythm remembers. Marcus almost laughed. That's not science. Neither is your son's smile, she said gently. That shut him up. Aiden lifted his arms, as if asking her to guide him again. She supported him, helping him stand straight. Marcus braced himself, ready to catch Aiden if he fell. But Tiana didn't look nervous. She looked connected. As if she could feel Aiden's balance before he even moved. She guided him through a slow, simple sway left, right, left. Aiden followed. People inside the restaurant stared, whispering, but nobody interrupted. It felt like time had narrowed down to just the three of them. When they finished, Tiana sat beside Aiden and let him rest. Marcus stared, trying to understand the impossible. You should be teaching, Marcus said quietly. She let out a small laugh with no joy. I tried. Someone made sure I stopped. What do you mean? She didn't answer. Instead, she looked at Aiden again. He has music inside him, she said softly. But someone needs to guide him before he loses it again. Marcus felt a sting in his chest. Are you saying you want to help him? I'm saying he wants me to help him. Marcus hesitated. He had money, resources, everything, yet none of it worked. This girl came from nowhere, with no equipment, no certificates, no expensive tools. And she awakened something in Aiden that he thought was gone forever. What do you need to work with him? Marcus asked. Tiana looked at him with a calm strength that surprised him. Patience, she said. Trust. And a promise. A promise? Marcus asked. Yes. Don't control him when he tries. Don't fear every step he takes. Your fear is louder than his disability. Marcus froze. Nobody had ever spoken to him like that. Nobody had ever challenged him like that. Aiden tugged Tiana's sleeve softly, as if choosing her for his next step in life. And in that quiet moment, Marcus Hale, one of the richest men in the world, realized he was facing something money could never buy. A woman who saw his son for who he could be, not what he had become. Marcus returned to the restaurant the next day, not because he liked the place, but because Aiden wouldn't stop pointing at the door whenever jazz music played in the car. His son never demanded anything before. But now he wanted one thing only, Tiana. They walked in, and Aiden immediately searched for her. When he spotted her wiping the table, his face lit up like sunrise. Marcus felt something twist inside him, pride and jealousy he didn't want to admit. His son trusted this girl more than any doctor in his life. Tiana looked up and smiled. "Well, look who came back to dance." Aiden laughed softly, an actual laugh, and reached both hands toward her. Marcus felt his chest tighten. Was this what he had been missing all these years? "You're early," Tiana said, crouching next to Aiden. "Ready for your first real lesson?" Marcus blinked. "Real lesson?" "Yesterday wasn't real. That was warming up," she winked. "Today we build something." Aiden grabbed her hand instantly, and Marcus stepped back to give them space. Tiana moved a few chairs aside, clearing a small area. She didn't ask Marcus for help. She moved like someone who could create order anywhere she stood. She knelt and looked straight into Aiden's eyes. "Today we go slow. Slow is powerful. Slow is control." Aiden nodded. Marcus watched carefully, trying to understand how she connected so easily. Tiana lifted Aiden's hand and placed it on her shoulder. "Balance with me." Aiden leaned forward, trusting her fully. Marcus's heart squeezed. He wanted to rush forward every time Aiden wobbled. But when he stepped closer, Tiana gave him a look that froze him. "Let him feel it," she said. "Don't jump in yet." Marcus swallowed his instinct and forced himself to stay back. Tiana guided Aiden through a simple step pattern: forward, pause, breathe, shift weight. Aiden copied her perfectly for 2 steps, then stumbled. His knees dropped. Marcus lunged forward, but Tiana already caught him. With one arm she supported Aiden's small frame. With her other hand, she motioned Marcus to stop. "He didn't fall," she said calmly. "He learned." Aiden looked up at Marcus, waiting for his reaction. Marcus forced himself to smile, even though fear clawed at his chest. "That's good," Marcus managed. Tiana whispered something to Aiden, and whatever she said made him straighten with new courage. She eased him back to his feet, guiding him through the rhythm again. This time, Aiden lasted longer: 5 steps, then 7. But Marcus wasn't the only one watching. A tall man in a dark coat stood outside the restaurant window. His eyes locked on Tiana with a mix of anger and something else: ownership. Tiana saw him reflected in the glass. The light in her face dimmed instantly. Her hands tightened around Aiden. Marcus noticed the shift. "You okay?" Tiana nodded too quickly. "Yeah, keep watching him." But Aiden felt the tension. His steps shook. His breath became uneven. "Hey, sweetheart," Tiana whispered, rubbing his shoulder. "Ignore everything. Just feel the beat." Aiden relaxed again because her voice had that magic, but Marcus couldn't relax. He kept glancing toward the window. The man hadn't moved. He didn't blink. He was staring directly at Tiana like she belonged to him. Finally, Marcus stepped beside her. "Do you know him?" Tiana didn't look. "Not now." "Focus on Aiden. That's not an answer." She sighed, her voice low. "He's someone who believes he still has control over my life. But he doesn't." Aiden tugged her arm, confused by the sudden heaviness around them. Tiana forced a smile. "Come on, baby. You're doing amazing." Aiden straightened as if trying to protect her in his own small way. Marcus felt his stomach twist. He didn't know who that man was, but he knew one thing. Tiana was carrying a burden she refused to show, and something inside Marcus whispered that her past might be far more dangerous than she was willing to admit. Tiana tried to pretend nothing was wrong, but Marcus could see her hands trembling slightly each time she helped Aiden stand. The tall man outside the window stayed like a shadow glued to the glass, watching, judging, waiting. Aiden sensed the tension too. His shoulders tightened, and his steps, once soft and steady, became shaky again. "Tiana," Marcus whispered, stepping closer. "You're scaring him." "If that man is a problem, he's not a problem," she said quickly. Too quickly. Then she added, "He's just from my past." Marcus glanced back at the window. The man was no longer there. A sudden chill ran through him. Before he could speak, the restaurant door swung open. Heavy footsteps echoed across the wooden floor. The man walked in. He had sharp eyes, a clean beard, and the attitude of someone used to controlling everything around him. His stare landed directly on Tiana. "So this is where you ended up," he said. Voice cold. Tiana stepped in front of Aiden. "Don't start this here." "Malik." Marcus felt his jaw tighten. "Malik." The name sounded like trouble. Malik crossed his arms. "You walked away from the center I built. From the kids who depended on you. And now you're here? Teaching for free?" Tiana's face tightened. "You didn't build that center for the kids. You built it for your ego." Marcus watched this exchange with rising anger. Tiana wasn't scared of Malik, but she was exhausted by him. Aiden clung to her arm, sensing something dangerous. Malik stepped closer. "You owe me, Tiana. Don't forget that." Marcus finally spoke. "She doesn't owe you anything." Malik looked him up and down. "And you are?" "Tiana's friend," Marcus lied, though it didn't feel like a lie. Malik smirked. "Your wallet says more than your words." Marcus took a sharp step forward. "My money has nothing to do with this." "Oh, trust me," Malik said softly. "Your money has everything to do with this." Before Marcus could react, Aiden made a small, frightened sound, his body shaking harder than before. Tiana immediately kneeled beside him and held his hands. "It's okay, sweetheart," she whispered. "Nothing is going to happen to you." Malik watched with disgust. "So this is what you're doing now? Babysitting rich men's kids?" Tiana's voice dropped to a warning. "You need to leave, Malik." He ignored her and turned to Marcus. "Do you know why she left my center? Ask her. Ask her how she lost a child." Tiana flinched like the words were knives. Marcus stared at her. "Lost a child? That's enough," Tiana said sharply. "You don't talk about him." Aiden whimpered, reaching for her shoulder. She hugged him, trying to protect him from the poison in Malik's voice. Malik shrugged. "Fine. Pretend you didn't break someone. Pretend you didn't run away from your mistake." Tiana stood up slowly, fury burning in her eyes. "Get out." Malik leaned close to her ear. "You can't escape your guilt. And I will make sure the world remembers who you truly are." He turned and walked out. But the damage was already done. Aiden, overwhelmed by the shouting, tried to stand on his own, his breath fast, his body unsteady. "Aiden, wait," Marcus said, reaching for him, but Aiden tried to take a step, and his knee collapsed. He fell to the floor hard. The entire restaurant gasped. Marcus rushed forward, panic exploding inside him. "Aiden! Aiden!" Tiana dropped beside the boy instantly, her hands steady even though her heart clearly wasn't. "Aiden, baby, look at me, breathe, breathe," she whispered. Marcus's voice cracked. "This is why I don't take risks. This is why I can't let him try, he gets hurt." Tiana looked up at Marcus with surprising anger. "He didn't fall because he tried. He fell because we scared him. Because Malik brought the past into this room." Marcus felt frozen, because he knew she was right. Aiden reached up and touched both of their hands, as if begging them to stop fighting. Tiana wiped his tears gently. "I'm sorry, sweetheart. I let my fear touch you." Marcus saw it clearly now. This woman was broken in places she didn't show. But she was fighting for Aiden harder than anyone ever had, and that made her dangerous, not to Aiden, but to the walls Marcus had built around his heart. Marcus drove Tiana and Aiden home that evening because Aiden wouldn't let go of her hand. The fall had shaken him, but he trusted Tiana more than anyone else. Marcus didn't understand it, but he couldn't deny it either. The car was quiet. Aiden slept in the back seat, curled against Tiana's arm. Marcus kept glancing at her through the mirror. Her eyes were distant, full of guilt and fear. When they reached Marcus's mansion, Tiana hesitated at the door. "I shouldn't go inside," she whispered. "You're already in," Marcus said softly. "Come on." He carried Aiden to the couch while Tiana checked his breathing and knee. She handled him with such care that Marcus felt a sting in his chest. "How do you do that?" Marcus asked quietly. Tiana didn't look up. "Do what?" "Touch him like he's not fragile." Tiana finally met his eyes. "Because he's not." Marcus sat opposite her, exhausted and shaken. "That man. Malik. He said something about you losing a child." Tiana froze. A long silence filled the room, too heavy, too raw, too real. Finally, she took a breath. "It wasn't my child," she said softly. "It was a student." Marcus leaned forward, listening without interrupting. Tiana continued, voice trembling. "I taught dance therapy at Malik Center. There was a little boy, CJ, 5 years old. Sweetest kid you ever met. Couldn't walk straight, but he loved music. He trusted me completely." Her voice cracked. Marcus felt something twist in his stomach. One day, during practice, he tried a new move. Something small. Something harmless. But he tripped. Hit his head on a speaker. I caught him. Just not fast enough. She wiped her cheek. He didn't die. But he lost more movement. The doctors blamed his condition. Malik blamed me. Marcus closed his eyes. "And you blamed yourself. How could I not?" Tiana whispered. "I promised his mother I'd protect him. After that, I couldn't teach anymore. I couldn't touch another kid. Every time I tried, I heard him crying." She looked at Aiden, asleep with trust on his face. "But then your son took my hand. And for the first time in years, I wanted to help again." Marcus felt the weight of her story. It hit him in the chest like a truth he had been avoiding. Tiana added quietly, "I didn't run away because of Malik. I ran because I didn't think I deserved to teach anymore." Marcus didn't know what to say. He walked to the window, gripping the frame as memories of his own pain rushed back. The accident, the hospital, the night Aiden lost the ability to walk. He had never told anyone the truth. He turned around. "You're not the only one carrying guilt." Tiana looked up at him, confused. Marcus swallowed hard. "Aiden wasn't born disabled. There was an accident. My fault. I was driving. One wrong turn. 1 second of distraction. And everything changed." Tiana's eyes softened with shock. "I tried to fix him with money. Doctors, machines," Marcus continued, voice breaking. "But I never fixed myself. I couldn't, because every time I saw him struggle, I saw my mistake." Tiana walked toward him gently. "Marcus, you stayed by his side. You didn't run." "I ran in my heart," he whispered. "I never let him try anything because I was terrified of hurting him again. And I never let myself teach because I was terrified of hurting someone again," Tiana replied. Their eyes met. For the first time, they understood each other fully, two people broken in different ways, both trying to protect a child from the wounds in their past. Aiden shifted in his sleep, reaching out blindly. Tiana held his hand. Marcus placed his hand over theirs. For a moment, their 3 hands were joined. Tiana whispered, "Maybe we can help him together." Marcus nodded slowly. "Maybe we can help each other too." Outside the window, unseen by both of them, Malik sat in his car, watching the mansion with a cold expression. And he whispered, "This isn't over." The next 7 days felt like a storm and a sunrise happening at the same time. Aiden trained with Tiana every afternoon in Marcus's living room. She used soft beats, slow claps, and gentle humming to guide him. Sometimes Aiden shook. Sometimes he nearly fell. Sometimes he simply stared at her like her voice was a light in the darkness. And every time he stumbled, Tiana whispered, "Slow is strength, baby. Slow is control." Marcus watched these lessons from the corner of the room, fighting the urge to jump forward each time Aiden wobbled. But Tiana always gave him that look. Let him try. Aiden kept improving, tiny steps, tiny victories. But each one felt like a miracle. Then the community center announced a special ability showcase, a dance stage for kids with challenges. Tiana hesitated, unsure if she should enter Aiden. Marcus didn't hesitate at all. "He's ready," he said. Tiana's voice was soft. "Ready for a stage? Maybe ready for the world? I don't know." "The world can watch," Marcus said firmly. "My son is finally living." Tiana saw the determination in his eyes. She nodded slowly. "All right. But you have to promise something." "What?" Marcus asked during the performance. "No panic. No running on stage. No fear. He needs your courage." Marcus swallowed hard. "I'll try." "No," Tiana whispered. "You'll do it." The night arrived. The community center stage glowed with bright yellow lights. Children in wheelchairs, walkers, braces, and various conditions filled the room. Families whispered encouragements. Music echoed through the hall. But Marcus? He was sweating through his shirt like he was the one performing. Aiden sat backstage, his little hands shaking. Tiana knelt in front of him. "Hey," she whispered. "You don't have to be perfect. Just feel the music. I'll be right there." Aiden looked at Marcus. His eyes begged for reassurance. Marcus knelt too. "You got this, son. And whatever happens, I'm proud of you." For the first time ever, Aiden lifted his hand and touched Marcus's face gently. It was the smallest gesture, but it shattered Marcus's fear. A tear slipped down his cheek. Then the host called, "Next up, Aiden Hale, guided by Miss Tiana Brooks." The crowd clapped politely. Aiden stepped on stage slow, unsteady, but standing. Tiana stood beside him with a calm, powerful presence. The music began, a soft beat, a gentle rhythm. Tiana leaned down and whispered a count he understood. Aiden took one step clean. Then another, shaky but determined. The crowd fell silent. Marcus sat frozen, his heart beating louder than the speakers. Then, Aiden did something nobody expected. He moved his foot back and swayed slightly. A move Tiana taught him only yesterday. The audience gasped. But then, a figure appeared at the back of the hall. Malik, his arms crossed, his expression sharp. His eyes locked on Ti. In a she saw him. Her breath hitched. Her rhythm faltered for 1 second. And Aiden felt his knees shook. His fingers tightened painfully around Tiana's hand. He swayed too far, falling forward. Marcus shot to his feet. Tiana caught Aiden mid-fall, holding him firmly against her chest. "It's okay," she whispered. "You're okay, sweetheart." Aiden's tears trembled. He looked at Marcus with fear. Marcus remembered his promise. No panic, no running, no fear. So he forced himself to sit. "Come on, son," he whispered. "Finish it." Tiana steadied herself. She ignored Malik's stare, tuned out her trauma, and focused only on Aiden. "Feel the beat again," she whispered. Aiden closed his eyes, and slowly, unbelievably, he took one more step, then another, then a third. The crowd rose to their feet, clapping loudly, cheering for courage. Not perfection. When the music ended, Aiden leaned into Tiana. Exhausted but proud, Marcus stood, hands shaking, breath trembling, and whispered, "That was my boy." But as the applause filled the hall, Malik slipped out the back door, a cold smile on his face, and he muttered, "Let them celebrate. Tomorrow, I destroy everything she rebuilt." The morning after the showcase arrived with a strange mix of peace and dread. Aiden woke up smiling, his tiny hands still tapping out the rhythm he danced to last night. Marcus tried to act calm, but deep inside he replayed Malik's cold smile. He knew that look. It wasn't over. Tiana came early. She brought breakfast and warm energy, but her eyes were tired. Marcus noticed instantly. "You didn't sleep," he said. Tiana shook her head. "Malik posted something online. A video about me." Marcus stiffened. "Show me." She handed him her phone. Marcus watched Malik speaking directly to the camera. Tiana Brooks, former dance therapist. The woman who injured a disabled child under her care. Parents trusted her, and she destroyed that trust. She ran away. Now she's teaching again. Without permission. Marcus felt fire rise inside him. He made it sound like you hurt that child on purpose. I knew he would, Tiana said softly. He always does this when he wants control. Aiden sensed the tension. He crawled closer to Tiana and hugged her waist. She held him tightly, blinking tears away. Marcus stood up. He isn't just attacking you. He's attacking my son's progress. And I'm not letting that happen. Tiana sighed. Marcus, I don't want a war. Then why did you step into my life? He replied softly. Because whether you like it or not, we're in this together now. Marcus made calls, powerful ones. Lawyers, PR teams, investigators. Within hours, information poured in. Malik had lied for years, using CJ's accident to gain sympathy and control donors. Worse, he diverted money from the community center into his private accounts. Marcus didn't waste a second. He called a press meeting at his mansion that same evening. Tiana panicked. Marcus, no spotlights, cameras, I can't. You won't speak, Marcus said gently. Just tell the truth to me. I'll tell the world. Tiana froze. Nobody ever protected her like that. Not like this. That evening, reporters packed Marcus's living room. Aiden sat on the couch next to Tiana, holding her hand as if trying to reassure her. Marcus stepped forward. Malik Carter accused Miss Tiana Brooks of hurting a child. Marcus began. Here is the truth. She saved that child. Doctors confirm it. She prevented worse damage. Malik blamed her because it was easier than admitting his center lacked safety equipment. The crowd murmured. And more, Marcus continued. Malik misused funds. We have the documents. He destroyed the very place meant to help children. One reporter asked, why defend her so strongly? Marcus looked at Aiden, who squeezed Tiana's hand again. Because she gave my son something no doctor or specialist ever could, Marcus said. She gave him courage. She gave him joy. She gave him life. A hush fell across the room. Then Aiden did something nobody expected. He slowly stood up from the couch. Everyone gasped. Tiana almost reached to catch him, but Aiden didn't fall. He took one shaky step forward. Then he reached toward Tiana. She stood and walked to him, tears filling her eyes. Aiden grabbed her hand and gently guided her into a small dance step. The same step she taught him. The room went silent. Reporters lowered their cameras. Even Marcus's breath caught. Aiden wasn't just copying her. He was leading her. Tiana covered her mouth, crying quietly. Baby, you're dancing. Aiden leaned his head on her stomach, his way of saying thank you. Marcus stepped beside them, placing a hand on both of their shoulders. Reporters watched something rare, not news, not scandal, not drama, but a family forming right in front of them. Tiana looked at Marcus. What now? Marcus smiled gently. Now, we rebuild. The community center, your name. And maybe. He looked at Aiden, then at her with soft eyes. Maybe something more. Aiden reached up with both hands, pulling them closer together, forcing their hands to touch. Tiana laughed through tears. He wants us to dance. Marcus squeezed her hand. Then let's dance. And there, in a room full of strangers, under bright lights and clicking cameras, a billionaire, a broken teacher, and a brave little boy took their first step as something new, something strong, something whole. A family they never expected, but one they desperately needed.